Hey, this is Mike from the Run Testers, and in this video we're going to be talking about the key differences between the Coros Pace 3 and the Garmin Forerunner 265. Now this video has been brought to you in partnership with our friends at Precision Fuel and Hydration. Now if you're watching this video, you're clearly pretty serious about tracking your runs, but you should also be serious about how you're fueling and hydrating for your training runs and also on race day. Now, from my perspective, I am training for Manchester Half, which is on the 15th of October. In terms of my own fueling needs, I'm kind of coming back from injury. This is all part of building up to kind of tackle another marathon next year. Now, in terms of my training, I always make sure that I grab enough gels to kind of cover my training runs. Now, the gels that I've used over kind of a good few years now have been the Precision Fuel Hydration energy gels, and also the caffeine and non-caffeine ones. So depending on the types of runs that I'm going to be doing and when I'm going to be doing those runs. So if you're the kind of person that doesn't really know what to do in terms of those fueling and kind of hydration needs, then Precision Fuel and Hydration have a really good tool on their website that I will be using. It's a kind of build you a fueling and hydration plan to kind of help you make sure that you are doing the right things in terms of that fueling during your training runs and also when it comes to race day as well. So you can go to the website to create that fueling plan for your training, and if you want to grab anything from the website, we do have a 15% discount which will show up on screen, and it will also be in the caption as well to help you get started. Now what we want to do in this video is really get down to the key differences that are really going to help you decide whether you should go for the Pace 3 or you should go for the Garmin Forerunner 265. Now we'll start with design. Now these are two kind of small, lightweight watches, and if that's something that you want, then both of these deliver that. Now in terms of the key differences, you are getting on the Garmin Forerunner 265, you're getting a 265 and a 265S. If you want a slightly bigger case size, then you have the option to do that. Whereas the Pace 3, you only have the one case size option. Now materials wise, similar straps, you're getting removable straps as well, you're getting polymer cases. When you look at the screens, you are getting a touchscreen display on both of these watches. You've kind of got to enable it on the Pace 3, whereas with the Garmin Forerunner 265, it's kind of out of the box. The touchscreen support is there and in place. Now that is used on an AMOLED display compared to the LCD display that you're getting on the Pace 3. Now what does that mean? Ultimately, the AMOLED display on the Garmin gives you something that feels a little bit more like a smartwatch. It's more vibrant, more colourful, and if that's something that you want in terms of your experience, then that's what you're going to get. If you use it in always on mode, then that's going to hit the battery life a lot more. With the Pace 3, you've got a more traditional kind of sports watch display, which kind of prioritises kind of those kind of viewing angles, also making sure you're getting strong battery life as well. So from a design point of view, the key things you need to look out here for is you're getting the Forerunner 265 in two case size options. You're getting an AMOLED display, and that is a touchscreen display as well. On the Pace 3, we're getting one case size option. You are getting an LCD always on display. You do have the touchscreen functionality that you need to turn on, so it does have that ability there as well. It's maybe not as slick as it is on the Garmin Forerunner 265, so that's also something to keep in mind. But those are kind of key design differences to think about here in terms of what you're getting on the Pace 3 and the Forerunner 265. We do of course have to talk about price here. Now these are two watches that definitely sit in that kind of mid-range kind of category, but they definitely sit at different ends of that category. With the Coros Pace 3, that has jumped up in price from the Pace 2, but it definitely is the more affordable option. And you've got the Garmin Forerunner 265 at the other end, which is more expensive, considerably more expensive than the Pace 3. The main reason driving that price up is probably the AMOLED display, which in general we've seen on Garmin watches and the smart watches in general that does push the price up a little bit in terms of what you're going to expect to pay. But feature sets are generally similar, but ultimately if you are looking in terms of affordability, Pace 3 is definitely a more affordable mid-range watch, whereas the Garmin Forerunner 265 definitely sits at the more expensive kind of high-end range, mainly because you've got that AMOLED display there, and that's really what you're paying extra for. Now we do of course have to talk about that kind of general run tracking experience on these watches, and the good news is it's pretty solid across both of these. Now if you want things like dual frequency kind of GPS, or the kind of more accurate GPS mode that we're starting to see on running watches, both of these watches offer that. I think from a heart rate monitoring performance from that kind of wrist-based heart rate monitoring, you're getting very good performance on both of these watches, with the scope to kind of pair external heart rate sensors as well too. If you care about navigation support, both offer breadcrumb navigation and the ability to kind of upload routes via the kind of respective apps and get them on the watches. So if that's something that you care about, you're not getting that full mapping support, but you are getting that kind of breadcrumb navigation style kind of fit functionality, but also that ability to upload routes as well. You're getting training and analysis features across these watches as well too, if that's something you want to kind of dig into a little bit more, and you have that capability to do that here. Now I think that's probably one area where maybe the watch is slightly different in terms of the approaches to the training and analysis. I would say, and we would kind of generally say, that maybe the approach on Garmin's is slightly nicer, a little bit more intuitive, a little bit easier to understand. You've got that kind of same level of kind of analysis going on the Coros, but maybe you need to do a little bit of work to kind of better kind of understand and kind of get to grips with that information, where I think things like training readiness on the Garmin Forerunner 265, things like kind of daily suggested workouts, those kind of features that really kind of touch a drive to offer recommendations and advice in terms of what you should be doing, a little bit better executed on the Garmin Forerunner 265, but they do offer those training analysis features across both watches. It just feels that maybe the execution of it is slightly nicer on the Garmin Forerunner 265, but that pure kind of core running tracking experience from that kind of dual frequency GPS mode, heart rate monitoring, all the kind of metrics that you'd expect to come with it, they're very similar in terms of that experience. So from that point of view, you're getting very good run tracking on both of these watches. You maybe get a little bit more in terms of the approach and execution of the training and analysis features on the Garmin over the Coros Pace 3, but it's definitely improving in terms of Coros's own ecosystem and delivering those features as well. Now, the other area that's going to help you choose between these two watches is the smartwatch support that you're getting across them. Now, both work with Android and iOS, and it's pretty consistent in terms of that experience, kind of using it across those two platforms. Now, in terms of which gives you more of that smartwatch experience, it definitely is the Garmin. You know, both these watches, you can view notifications. You have music players here as well too. So those are kind of things that you're looking for from your smartwatch experience. And you've got that on the Garmin, you can kind of respond quickly to notifications, which you can't do on the Coros. It's a lot more basic in terms of that support. You have obviously an app store on the Garmin watch, where you don't have that on the Coros either. You're looking at things like the music player support. Ultimately, you're getting support for kind of streaming services, or to store music from streaming services like Spotify on the Garmin. You don't have that on the Coros Pace 3. That's more about kind of dragging and dropping your own music when you connect it to a computer to get that music on there. You're getting an app store on the Garmin as well too, which you don't get that on the Coros Pace 3. So ultimately, if you're looking for a slicker kind of smartwatch experience from your running watch, then you're definitely going to get that on the Garmin. You're going to get aspects of it on the Coros Pace 3, but you're definitely going to get more of it on the Garmin Forerunner 265 and 265S. Then we do, of course, have to talk about battery life. Now, if you're looking for the watch here that's going to last longer off a single charge, it's going to be the Coros Pace 3. But ultimately, these are two watches that can handle kind of a week's worth of training. Now, with the Coros Pace 3, you don't have that AMOLED display, and you have that AMOLED display set to always on the Garmin. It's going to hit the battery life a lot more, and you're going to get less than a week out of it. But if you're willing to use the raise to wake gesture support, it is going to go longer, has the capability to go beyond a week, but ultimately it's probably going to max out for you for around a week. Now, with the Coros Pace 3, it's promising more days in terms of that kind of smartwatch mode, daily usage mode. Obviously, things like using the dual frequency GPS mode, like the multi-band mode on the Garmin, that's going to hit the battery life a little bit more. And ultimately, that's something you're going to have to deal with on both of these watches. But in terms of the watch being sat in standby mode, it's not draining as much as the Garmin, so ultimately it's going to last a little bit longer. But bottom line, these are two watches that are going to hold up for a week's worth of training. If you want one that can last a little bit longer in between charges, then we'd probably say the Coros Pace 3 just about edges it in terms of you're going to get it, mainly because you don't have that AMOLED on display. And when it's in standby mode, it's not, you know, monitoring or, you know, doing too much to kind of hurt the kind of battery life when you're not using it for tracking. Okay, so there you have it. Those are the key differences we think will help you decide whether you should go for the Coros Pace 3 or the Garmin Forerunner 265. So just a refresh, I think from a design point of view, if you really want an AMOLED display, then you go for the Garmin Forerunner 265. If you want the better smartwatch experience, then again, you go for the 265 as well. If you want best value for money, if you want a better battery life performance, and all the kind of same kind of run tracking experience that you're going to generally get from the Garmin, then you go for the Coros Pace 3. And it's, you know, despite them being in different price categories, the feature sets are very similar in terms of what you're getting. It really is thinking about whether what you value in terms of design, in terms of battery performance, and really about having a smartwatch to kind of live with as well as something that attracts your runs. And those are kind of the key things we think will help you decide whether you should go for the Coros Pace 3 or the Garmin Forerunner 265. Okay, so there you have it, the key running differences between the Coros Pace 3 and the Garmin Forerunner 265. Now, if you've got any questions about these watches, or actually you want to see the Pace 3 compared to in other videos, then do let us know in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, hit that little bell to find out about the latest videos, and yeah, we'll see you for the next Run Testers video.